Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We move into the midpoint of March in 1986. March the 15th, to be specific. We are rolling along. World Class has not gotten too bad as of yet. I know that by the end of 86, people say it has really dropped off, but at least through the first 3 months, because I've watched up to the beginning of April, not bad. I mean, you do see more dependence on stars that are in some cases unknowns. That is there. Also, matches are a little bit. I don't know if I'd say longer, but the formation of the wrestling world class wrestling alliance, kind of a different thing. Their own world champion, like Steve Regal, most notably known for the AWA, not the Lord William Regal later, but the blonde Mr. Electricity version, makes what I think is his debut here against Mike Reed. Regal, more of a mat-based wrestler to a degree, and he is one of many blondes. He goes immediately for mat-based style wrestling early, and Reed kind of gets schooled, although he does come up with a hammerlock in the first few minutes, and Regal, who's done some regional light heavyweight work and the like, manages to keep things going in his general direction for the first few minutes of the match. Obviously, they brought him in. Maybe the Lance Von Erich thing didn't work out. He actually hooks in a very high Boston Crab. I say high because it almost is like the guy's standing on his head. Gets a break because Regal winds himself up in the ropes, which is not what everybody intends. Reed comes back to his feet. They battle over headlocks and hammerlocks for the next several minutes. Again, really basic. That's why it's easy to do these reviews in 15 minutes or less, because the shows don't require, 20, 25, 30 minutes of review. It's back when wrestlers knew how to tell stories, and you could get several minutes out of a hold. Beal out of the corner, for example, by Mike Reed here, and then he misses a drop kick. I mean, you do see, a good bit and some good numbers there. 1, 2, they only get to 2 count out of it, and doesn't get all he wants out of it, that's for sure. We do then see kind of a break back down. Regal goes back to the sleeper style hold and continues. They get, I don't know, I'd say a good 8 or 9 minutes out of the match, which is a little surprising. Top elbow by Regal. Regal really not a flashy guy, but certainly a guy that'll fit right in here, especially in a smaller territory where there's not the need to do a bunch of abundant, crazy stuff. Regal does come up with the victory. He does that through the use of what ends up being a belly-to-belly suplex. Interesting that on another channel on the NWA, Magnum TA would be using this, and then you give it to a smaller guy. Then we go to an interview with Chris Adams. I don't know where they got the interview. I wouldn't imagine that Bill Mercer would fly to England, but I thought they said that's where he was going. He being he being Adams' pronouns pal, and Adams basically says he's seen the light. He's reformed. He has gotten a bit of vision back in his right eye, and he's been able to reflect on who he is as a person, been able to reflect on things he took for granted, and there's every bit of sympathy for the guy. I mean, they do the fireball thing, and it's a big thing, and that catches everybody off guard, and then he goes away for a while. Now we're slowly seeing him come back, maybe in a miraculous way. Missing Link and Buddy Roberts up next. The Link has a stuffed animal that he intends to either cuddle or give away or do something with. Sunshine with the Link, and Link made into almost like a George the Animal Steel type character. Not quite that goofy, but just a little bit. Muddy Roberts and the Link go at it. Roberts tries with the brawling early, doesn't get all he wants with it, but gets enough. Link sends Roberts to the ropes again with the headbutts. I really wonder, does the missing link have any offensive moves that are not headbutts? Makes me wonder. It really does. Anyway, um, double axe handle, and then the spinning toe hold by the link. Link with a splash into his opponent. A couple diving headbutts. Roberts heads to the floor, more out of his own pain, and Link goes and is able to get a victory. He gets the victory again with a version of the headbutt, and then he goes and retrieves his stuffed animal and leaves, missing Link victorious. And then we see the Freebirds talk about the new rules. They do not like the fact that the championships can change hands on disqualification. Obviously, they plan to hide behind that rule and can no longer do so. Rick Rude and Kerry Von Erich for the American title up next. They're given about 10 minutes here. Rude and Von Erich is a good series of matches. Von Erich in a different situation in a red jacket this time. Rude, of course, accompanied by Percy Pringle, later Paul Bearer, and that's been an interesting and fun evolution to see him in the area. And actually, Percy stays almost 4 years, maybe close to 5, until the close of World Class in 1990, before going on to become The Undertaker's manager. As Paul Bearer, one of the most iconic things in the world, but that was at the request of Rick Rude. Good mat wrestling by Kerry Von Erich early in this one, and Rude knows how to pace things. Kerry Von Erich and Rick Rude reminds me of the Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude. In other words, Kerry sometimes needs someone to slow him down every once in a while. Rude really, really good at doing that. Ring general like none other. Meanwhile, Percy Pringle on the outside of the ring, less than happy with what's going on. Rude tries to outpower Kerry Von Erich, doesn't go very well. They trade, they being Kerry and Rude, trade hammerlocks, headlocks, and the like. They do go to the outside. Rude manages an atomic drop on the outside of the ring temporarily. That is not good for Kerry Von Erich. Rude has the presence of mind to cut Von Erich off and try to keep him from re-entering the ring. And then we kind of see Percy Pringle praising his man from the outside, as one would expect. A good bit of chaos there. And then when they go back in, Kerry goes back on the offense, gets a few near falls. Kerry goes back to the front face lock, kind of using both his power and his extra body weight, because he does outweigh Rude. They switch into Rude actually getting some ride time and holding a reverse chinlock on Kerry. Again, slower match than a lot of people would expect, but Rude able to maintain it through facial expressions and the like. Lots of people would call this a boring match by today's standards. I would say that they get more out of doing stuff like this than 100 Canadian destroyers and other, the overuse of the overuse of the pump kick, the overuse of the German suplex. It's just there. Anyway, Kerry with the Iron Claw for a minute or two, and then Rude comes back to his feet after breaking free of that. And Rude then goes for the sleeper hold. He holds on for quite a few minutes there. Kerry reverses and gets a sleeper of his own. That is rather surprising. Needless to say, Rick Rude not happy with being on the receiving end of the sleeper hold, and Rude manages to get Kerry down on the mat, post the aggression there, gets a near fall. Kerry hooks on the sleeper and has the hold for about a minute before we see a major shift. Kerry, however, gets dumped over the top rope. The disqualification. I do not think the disqualification is considered intentional, therefore, the title does not change hands. But anyway, that'll close this week of World Class here on the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel.